Hello, so you saw, microphone, right? You saw us at the immigration office in Palma. We had to go to submit our paperwork for the TIE card, which is, I can't remember exactly what it translates to, but it's a foreign person's ID. This is a card used for identification purposes, which you basically need in your presence. But of course, it takes time to get this stuff done. So once we had all those paperworks, the NIE numbers, the visa approval, look, without getting in the weeds here, I had our gestor, so the accountant that we'd engaged with, telling me to contact the agency that helped us move to Spain. The agency were telling me to contact the gestor or speak with the town hall. I think you get where I'm going with this one. Everyone, all different parties were telling each other, were saying that it's someone else's responsibility to help. So in the end, I just sourced help from someone that is an expat already and have already walked the path that we're walking. And they just recommended and introduced me to a solicitor. So I literally just then emailed the solicitor to engage, and they were so helpful. She was so nice. She actually came and met us at the immigration office really early with the children, and although she could only get appointments back to back for 3 of us, she managed to squeeze us in, all 4 of us, at the same appointment, because of course from Palma to where we live is a bit of a journey, and we had to take the kids out of school just to be able to do this. So she was able to squeeze us all in, which was really helpful. Basically, paperwork is submitted. Now we have to wait 45 days for the physical TIE cards to be printed, which I believe gets done in Madrid. And obviously we're in the Balearic Islands. So then in 45 days time, we can go and collect them, and then we'll have our foreign person's identification. But yeah, there's a process I really like so far. There's been no surprises. I really like red tape, the systems, the processes. That's the way I've always been. I'm sure maybe my views may change in the future, but you hear a lot of stuff about the way Spain operates, but we've had nothing but good experiences. We try our best to stay relaxed, and what they say, mañana. So, which actually, before I moved to Spain, I thought mañana just meant tomorrow, but mañana also means morning. So yeah, I didn't know that.
Mommy, hold it!
Bon dia. We are scootering and walking to school this morning because we have got an exciting day ahead where all will be revealed.
Well, we're not actually scootering at the moment, are we?
No, we're not.
Carrying the scooter.
Yeah, because apparently the floor's too bumpy with the stones.
It's these cobblestone streets of Rienza.
Oh, you want to ride it now?
Oh no, let's go. Starting a session with core, because I know we've all done it, haven't we? Get to the end of your workout and you're fatigued, you're thinking, oh, shall I just swerve it? And then what happens is you give in and you just swerve it, right? We've all done it. Come on, put your hand up. Joel, have you done it? If you don't train your core at the beginning of the workout, at the end, you're just going to swerve it, right?
Yeah, and you just think, oh, I'll just do a set of this, a set of that, and then you're like,
it just
I
says,
can't be bothered.
you lack that intent when it comes down to it at the end of the session. So we like to, because we want to prioritise the core, we want to light it up, get everything engaged, get the hips firing. You'll see with the movements that we're doing, we're not only just doing a spinal flexion move, but we're doing a hip flexion move as well, to really get the core and the upper thighs lit up.
Also as well, I think from the different chapters that we've been on with training, bodybuilding, going through the years, you think just training core is just doing sit-ups and just thinking so many people have been there where you just do sit-ups, leg raises, the abdominal machine, Russian twists, and it's not about just getting a six-pack or definition in your abdominal section. Since we've gone on this journey with fitness, we've realised like the purpose of the core, and obviously just having visible abdominals is like a byproduct of obviously your health and how you look after yourself and your body fat. But the actual core exercises that we're doing have a purpose to the functional fitness that we do, and you don't realise how much it actually improves your functional fitness.
Super relevant in this case for Jordan's pending Ironman era. Swimming, cycling, running modalities will require an insane core strength, stability. Number one lift, we're going to do it as straight sets. It's just the flat dumbbell bench press. Okay, so we're going to piece this with nothing, just in isolation. We're going to build up to 3 top sets in the realm of 6 to 10 repetitions. So maybe the first set will be higher with that range, 10 reps, building up. Maybe if I'm feeling strong today, then I'll look to increase the weight. But the purpose behind this is super intentional. Okay, so I'm not winging anything. I'm trying to maintain my strength, if not build a little bit of strength in between the race preps. And the goal is to go as heavy as I can for those 3 top sets. Now sometimes it might only mean 2 sets, but the 2 sets are super impactful, making it count, not just winging it.
I may have entered my first Ironman, 70.3. Basically, the Ironman Mallorca was here on Saturday, and we had intentions to go down and watch it. And I woke up Saturday morning, went out for a run, and I thought, because the cycling route goes literally past where we live, and I started running, and I was thinking, I wonder if I catch them coming through. And I did. I got quite emotional watching it, and I thought, you know what, maybe one day. And then I saw on their Instagram that the registration for 2027 opens on the 3rd of June. But if you're here this weekend, you can register. So I just said, Ray, should we drive down there? And then I ended up signing up for it for next year. So I've got 1 year to train for my first Ironman. I'm still going to do the half, London big half, in September. So this month of May, like Ray said, is about rebuilding strength and getting that purpose and the intent back for lifting, because our race prep for the half will start in June. But also, I am now going to be juggling cycling and swimming as well. So this strength training session is even more important, because it's got to be with intent, it's got to have so much purpose, it's got to prevent me from injury, and it's got to be something that I lock in as a non-negotiable, like I've always have done, but literally non-negotiable twice a week for as long as I possibly can, amongst juggling 3 disciplines.
Okay, so second move, or second block of this session, we're going to piece together our secondary push, which is going to be on that vertical plane. So it's going to be a seated dumbbell shoulder press, and we're going to piece that together, well, with myself, a front foot elevated reverse lunge. Jordan and her knee feels a little bit more comfortable with a Bulgarian split squat. I don't know what I'd rather, to be fair. I mean, they're both horrendous, but look, they've got to be done. And we don't train lower body with too much volume, especially post-marathon, still recovering. And even on this short kind of strength rebuilding block that we're doing, we'll look to build intensity in a small amount of movements, as opposed to building volume. purely because we're still doing lots of volume of cardiovascular work, the cycling that we've introduced, the running more specifically. So we don't really want to over fatigue the legs. Some people might be accustomed to coping with more volume. Just us, from all the years experience we've got in the gym, we feel that we work best off a small amount of volume but more intensity with those movements. No junk volume, no junk volume.
Zooming in on my little tent. I've got hairy armpits. We are now transformed. So we wrapped up our session with some triceps and some accessory work to help my undiagnosed runner's knee that I've self-diagnosed, and I know that I've definitely got, but we're working on it. And we are currently off to somewhere very exciting, something that we've not actually done before. And
Over to Ray. You look very nice, by the way.
So do you, darling.
Gone a bit like Miami Vice style, but yeah, we're going to do a podcast, aren't we?
We are. So we got a message from a lady called Helen Cummins.
ABC Mallorca, so marketing, networking, property sales, property negotiation service. I'm sure there's many other services, so if you are watching this, Mrs. Cummins.
Yeah, a very successful lady.
Salute you. You are a strong woman with a story, and we'd love to hear about you, but I think you're interviewing us, right?
Yes, so we got messaged by Helen and her team, and last week we actually did a photo shoot for the property magazine for ABC Mallorca, which was super nerve-wracking.
We had to do it on the Calvary steps, and I mean, we're just a couple of
nomads,
people from Essex, and all of a sudden we're on these famous Calvary steps doing a photo shoot. It's just a bit bizarre, really. But
so that magazine is due to come out this year. We will inform you when it does. And then the second part of that is the podcast that we're en route to now, hence why we are dressed and glammed up to look presentable on a video podcast. So this is really exciting because we've never done this before, but they found us through our YouTube channel and our socials with our move, obviously leaving the UK to Mallorca, and interested in us as a young family, property, our business, and obviously why the move. So yeah, wish us good luck.
We're just really hesitant to not waffle on like we are right now, because I reckon want to get us to the point.
I reckon though you waffle more than me. We did it. Wow, that went really, really well. So we went to Helen's house, and what a beautiful place. I can't believe we was asked to such a beautiful location. It's like the Hollywood Hills of Mallorca, absolutely stunning. And yeah, it just flowed, we got on really well, and yeah, I'm just proud of us.
Yeah, I think we had a 45-minute slot, but we ended up filming for 58 minutes.
Waffling.
So, yeah, I mean, even though we was given drinks, things like that, our mouths are so dry, so I've got to try and find somewhere to get a Fanta Limon.
I feel like Fanta Limon, coffee con leche, más café,
We need a Fanta coffee.
Maybe some vino.
Vino?
No, it's a Tuesday, Jordan. It's a Tuesday, Jordan.
Here we are, back in the gym, strength session number 2 of the week. We're going to take you through it right now, so keep yourself tuned in. So for the same reasons we explained on Tuesday session, we're starting with the core because echoing the same message, if you save it till the end, you're more likely to just swerve it, skip it. I mean, maybe I'm just talking from self-experience, but over the last 18 years of training, being in the gym, working in the gym, all those training sessions, all those thousands of hours of accumulation and experience with working with clients, you just don't have the tenacity, the inclination at the end of the session. You're done, you want to get out, you want to go and do the next task. So we've chosen to do it at the beginning, when we've got the most energy, when we are building that flow, that momentum.
As I was just filming Ray, I was conscious like, oh, we're filming the same exercises, but that's the whole point. That is the whole point. We literally do the same exercises week in and week out. Yes, there might be some variety of the lift, but the main work remains the same, and we progress. Everything's intentional around preventing injury, rebuilding strength while we can in this block before running focus becomes more specific towards our next goal. But it's never like, oh, I'm bored of that exercise. It's progressing with the same lifts week in and week out, isn't it?
Yeah, our best advice would be sticking with the same program for at least minimum, absolute bare minimum, 8 weeks, pushing all the way up to 16 weeks, and repeat those movements week on week, make progressions. You can play with the variables, reps, sets, but over that period, that training block, you need to be doing more at the end of it than you did at the beginning. That's how adaptions occur. Now, we don't just incur adaptions week on week. Some weeks you might not feel as strong, and there's lots of variables that come into play because of sleep, hydration, stress levels, hormones. So stick with something for, ideally 16 weeks, and make those progressions. If you're stronger at the end and you do more at the end, then I guarantee you'll see some results.
You look like you got a big booty. Is this just in case anyone doesn't know what a bicep curl is?
This is because I'm a girl dad.
A girl dad.